Okay, so hopefully you got a chance to play blackjack for about 10 minutes there and kind of kept track of were you winning over time, right? And what I really wanted to do was like take a class and actually, keep track of how many people were winning to make it, real percentages, right? But in reality, right, the casinos don't get big and fancy by letting people win money, right? Basically, what'll happen is I kind of made up some data, and you're going to answer some questions about this data here in a little bit. But basically, like how it works is over time, you will lose, right? Like the longer and longer you play, the casino has an advantage, and they will slowly take all the money from the players, right? And it's simply a matter of time. Like in the beginning, like on this table here, I made it so like in the beginning, you might have some people winning, but over time, if you gamble long enough, you will lose your money, all right? And the math behind it is, so here's another kind of picture of it where, like this just shows like somebody's money over time. Like in the beginning, you might get kind of lucky and win some hands and be up. You could be up quite a bit actually. But if you keep playing more and more hands, eventually you're going to go more and more negative. And it's not like a straight drop, like a linear drop. It's kind of jagged, right? Like you have some wins and some losses and stuff. But over time, the casino's going to win. Okay, and the reason for this is the casino has figured out all the math of blackjack and figured out that even if you play with the exact right strategy. So this is actually a little card that you can look up that shows you kind of how to play blackjack by the perfect mathematical strategy. Even if you play by the perfect strategy, then you're only going to win about 48.5% of the time. Okay, so this is very similar to like a coin flip. So it's almost 50-50, which kind of gives people the illusion that they actually have a chance to win. But it's sort of like if you flip a coin, but you're only like the coin is only going to land. Let's say you pick heads every time, and the coin is only going to land heads 48.5% of the time, right? You can get the illusion that you might win in the short run because 48.5 is pretty close to 50. But like long term, if you keep playing, eventually you will like slowly lose because you essentially lose. Like if you played like 100 hands, you'd probably be like lose 3 more than you'd win. I guess is sort of what this number says. No, that's not even right. It would be like 1.5 more than you win. And so, it's basically over time, you're slowly going to lose your money. All right. And if you do end up turning, you were turning 18, but if you end up wanting to go to the casino when you turn 18, you can get a card like this. Honestly, I think you could just have it out and they wouldn't really care because they don't care because they still have the odds in their favor. All right. But if you are going to play, I would recommend like playing by the best probability. It just gives you the best chance to win. All right. So in my time going over the casino, I've definitely won some. I've lost some. But if you play by like smart odds, at least you're not going to be losing lots of money over time. And so if you look at this card, just a real quick interpretation of what it is this is your total right here. And then this is the one dealer's up card, 2 through ace, which is the card you can see. And so basically, if you have over 17, you always want to stay no matter what, right? The chances of busting are too high. So if you have 17 or higher, you never hit, all right? Unless the only kind of exception to that, I guess, is if you have an ace, like an ace 7 is actually like 18, 11 plus 7. But you can go over the top, right? Because ace can also become a 1. They sometimes call that like a soft total. So this would be like a soft, like this right here would represent a soft 18. So sometimes you hit in that case, right? So these are your cases with aces, which are kind of special cases. But the vast majority of your play is going to be up in like this part up here. Okay, and so generally the rule is you don't ever hit if you're on 17 or higher. And then if the dealer has a good card, which is basically 7 through ace, you can kind of see the line right down here. If the dealer has a good card and you have less than 17, then you need to hit until you get above 17. So all of these totals, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you need to hit until you get to at least 17. Okay, if the dealer has a bad card, so the bad cards would be like 2 through 6. And the general rule there is if they have a bad card, like that's a card where they're likely going to bust, you don't want to bust. So if you have one of these totals where you could bust, like if you have 14, you could certainly get a 10 and bust, then you want to stay. And the only exception is if you have a 12, sometimes you'll hit it against a deal or 2 or 3. These are kind of like toss-ups. It really doesn't matter what you do. All right, but then there's this kind of line here. So if you have a total below 12, you definitely want to hit, right? You're not going to stop at 11, and you can't bust anymore, so you definitely want to hit. Okay, so that's kind of the basic strategy of it. And then the other parts I didn't get to cover here is about doubling down and splitting. And that's beyond what I want to really do in this lesson. But if you look at this card, the D will stand for double down and the S will stand for split. And so those are special situations that are actually advantages for the player where you can make some extra money. But again, I'm not going to go into super detail with that. Most casinos actually have places where they'll teach you how to play blackjack. So I'd encourage you to do that or look it up online or ask me if you want more information on how to play correctly or the mathematically correct way. So yeah, in the end, hopefully it's about fun. Don't try to make money doing it. It's not going to work. It's just the math is casino's favor. And I know lots of smart people that don't believe that, but yeah, I'm hoping this lesson convinces you that treat it as fun. Don't gamble with money you can't afford to lose. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.